Good morning, KSL News Time, 5 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Andy Farnsworth.
And I'm Britt Johnson, in for Amanda Dixon this morning. KSL's top story this hour.
Utah has been seeing a recent string of serious crashes, and a number of them have resulted in someone's death.
This includes a new crash where a motorcyclist was killed in Midvale last night. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage. Deadly Spring. Adam?
Britt, this trend has been a little unnerving given we are still almost a full month away from the typical what's called the 100 deadliest days of summer. This new crash happened at State Street and 80th South late last night. Unified Police Sergeant Amy Race says a motorcyclist was driving northbound on State at a high rate of speed.
The vehicle was attempting to make a left-hand turn to go eastbound on 8000 South, and the motorcyclist collided with that vehicle.
This comes just one day after a 9-year-old died after getting hit by a truck in Pleasant Grove, and we're also getting word of a auto pedestrian crash in Roy where a woman in her 70s was seriously injured. We'll continue to gather more of the recent string of crashes we've had and how this trend has been unfolding coming up later. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
People who regularly ride their bicycles say they're also concerned about drivers spending too much time looking at screens instead of driving.
We are in a battle not against cars, not against each other. We're in a battle, honestly, against screens.
Unplugged Health co-founder Marshall Opal tells KSL TV he runs group bike rides and says that he starts every ride with a safety orientation.
Utahns riding tracks can expect up to a 45-minute delay starting this weekend. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
UTA will be doing some maintenance work along a section of the track near Main Street and 500 South between the ballpark and Galavant Plaza stations. That section is used by all three lines, red, blue, and green, so delays could be anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes. It will start on Saturday and last about a week. UTA will be setting up bus bridges in the meantime, and for a full list, check KSLNewsRadio.com. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Provo police are asking for help finding those responsible for vandalizing a church yesterday. Police say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house on 650 East Stadium Avenue was locked and appears to have been broken into through glass panels on the steeple. Inside, authorities found a broken organ and a piano flipped over, along with damaged sinks in the bathrooms and a punctured picture of Christ, among other damage.
Overnight was the final day of operation for Utah County's new warming centers. Organizers say shutting down for the summer is bittersweet. Provo Center Manager Frederick Sheehan was homeless himself for 10 years, and now he's grateful for the opportunity to help others.
Instead of going out to the street and looking for people, we can find them here.
He tells KSL TV having everyone in one location made it easy for volunteers to build trust.
Don't know what you're saying.
Connect with the resources they need. It's estimated warming centers across the county kept as many as 600 people from spending the night in freezing temperatures.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Elon Musk is talking about his work at the Department of Government Efficiency over President Trump's first 100 days back in office.
While speaking with reporters Wednesday, billionaire and special government employee Elon Musk claimed if Doge is going to get to its $1 trillion goal in spending cuts, it may come down to how much pain the cabinet and Congress is willing to take. When asked about what obstacles were in his way, Musk put blame on what he calls an entrenched set of interests and bureaucracy. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
ABC's Christiane Cordero also reports Musk says Doge still has a long way to go to reach its $1 trillion cost-cutting goal.
A federal program to help farmers receive mental health therapy ran out of money this year, leaving funding up to the states. Utah has decided against it. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis joins us live.
Britt, this started when the federal government set aside $28 million for states to help American food producers handle the extra stress caused by COVID. The money has now run out, and many states are choosing to continue with their own budget. Utah isn't one of them. In Utah, farmers are the third most likely vocation to die by suicide. Senator Scott Sandel is a third-generation rancher and farmer and tells the Salt Lake Tribune the stress of working in agriculture can cause high anxiety and other mental health challenges, but feels it's unlikely for the state to continue a program aimed at supporting one specific profession. Live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic now on this Thursday morning. Here's Heather Kelly.
No accidents reported anywhere across the Wasatch Front, and the roads are dry. We do have overnight lane restrictions being lifted right now on I-215's East Belt in Mill Creek. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
The White House House is pushing back against those who say the nation's GDP went down last month because of tariffs.
Americans to be patient. While claiming these tariffs had nothing to do with the economic downturn. Prior to Trump's presidency, the country had seen 33 months in a row of economic growth, but tariffs have created financial uncertainty, according to economists. In a measure in Congress blocking Trump's global tariffs, failing in the Senate due to health issues. Republicans successfully blocking mostly Democratic-backed effort in a 49-49 vote.
When you need essential energy, Maverick has you covered with Celsius, so you can keep your adventure going all day long. For a limited time, grab 2 12-ounce cans, get one free. Be sure to try the new Retro Vibe flavor. Now that's a deal worth racing down to Maverick for.
Shopping for a home? Get a homegrown home loan from Mountain America Credit Union. With our local guidance and competitive rates, you'll be home in no time. Plus, for a limited time, receive a free appraisal. After all, that's what neighbors do. Apply for your homegrown home loan today.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News.
David Dixon on
KSL News Radio 102.7 FM at 11:16 a.m.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 5:30. KSL's top story this hour.
We're hearing from refugees and other immigrants in Utah who are now questioning whether it's safe to apply for a driving privilege card.
They say the current immigration crackdown has caused a sense of fear. Get more on the story from KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Utah's driving privilege card lets people without legal status drive legally and get insured. For some, applying now feels risky. Attorney Jim Conkey with the Refugee Justice League says concerns over federal immigration actions have left many of his clients uncertain. He says his lawyers, they want to guide them to follow the law, but it's tough. We'll see refugees here legally but facing deportation without any criminal history. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national security warned a solemn procession took place in London this morning as the body of Pope Francis was taken from the chapel and brought into St. Peter's Basilica. ABC's Lionel Louise has more on the funeral arrangements. The funeral will take place on Sunday around 2 a.m. Utah time.
Utah has had the chance to remember and honor Pope Francis at a memorial mass held at the Cathedral of the Lateran last morning. Bishop Solis led the service and said the Pope will be remembered for his humility, kindness, and inclusion to all.
It was not surprise. As part of his will and testament, he asked for a simple tomb in the ground without ornamentation.
Sophia Ariadne attended and spoke to KSL TV after.
His intention is truly to reach the people and to love many.
She says she and others opened many doors for what she said.
Elon Musk says he is taking a step back from his work with the Department of Government Efficiency to focus on Tesla.
They are continuously the day of the week matters, for as long as the president would like me to do so, and as long as it was useful.
Tesla stocks plunged in recent weeks. I saw this morning it dropped 71%.
Yeah, and so maybe CEO focusing is maybe a good idea. Congress is now considering taking action on cell phone use in schools, just like Utah did under a new bill passed this year. KSL Media's Adam Small is live with more. Adam?
Andy, one of the biggest bills that passed during this year's legislative session was a new ban on cell phones in K-12 schools during school hours. Now Congress is looking to do more on the issue on a nationwide level. A bipartisan group of lawmakers are proposing a bill that would require the U.S. Surgeon General to do a study on the effects of cell phone use in K-12 classrooms and how it affects kids' mental health and school performance. The bill would also fund a 5-year pilot program to award grants to schools that buy secure containers and install lockers to help keep phones out of the classrooms. Live out of Small, KSL News Radio.
15 more minutes of sleep can make a huge difference for teen brain functions. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis joins us live. Brianna?
Amanda, in studying over 3,000 teens, researchers from the University of Cambridge say those who got even 15 minutes more sleep outperform others on reading, vocabulary, problem solving, and other mental tests. The study used objective data to gather information, providing each teen with a Fitbit that measured their sleep patterns and heart rates. They then compared this data with brain scans and cognitive test results. Live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic now. Here's Heather Kelly.
We're seeing a few extra cars now on the roadway than we did 20 minutes ago or so, but everybody's still traveling at speed on I-15, both directions trying to get into downtown Salt Lake. We're still accident-free on all the major roadways, and one of the busier roadways right now at the moment is the 201 freeway heading eastbound through West Valley City. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
People in Provo may see more coyotes this time of year, but officials say they shouldn't worry too much. KSL News Radio's Carl Johansson reports.
Provo police say they've gotten multiple calls about coyote sightings in the last week, including one near Timpview High School. Provo police spokeswoman Jana Lee Holland says coyote sightings are pretty common this time of year.
The coyotes are migrating at the moment, so they are moving.
Holland says if you see a coyote, don't panic.
Generally, it makes noise, makes the environment uncomfortable, and don't leave food out, including garbage, then they typically will move on.
She says since coyotes don't like people, there isn't much of a threat, but the department does have 4 animal control officers if there are problems with wildlife. Carl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
When you need essential energy, Maverick has you covered with Celsius, so you can keep your adventure going all day long. Be sure to try the new Retro Vibe. For a limited time, grab 2 12-ounce cans, get one free. Now that's a deal worth racing down to Maverick for. Adventure Club members get 25 bonus trail points when they buy Celsius. Download the Maverick app or go to Maverick.com and join today. You'll be on your way to freebies, fuel discounts, and other perks. Maverick, adventure's first stop.
Shopping for a home? Get a homegrown home loan from North American Credit Union. With our local guidance and competitive rates, you'll be home in no time. Plus, for limited time, receive a free appraisal. After all, that's what neighbors do. Apply for your homegrown home loan today.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. I'm Andy Farnsworth.
And I'm Amanda Lisa. KSL's top story on the city block.
Decided to be up early.
New search warrants are providing new insights into what police are looking at. KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details.
Amanda says that and his mother Jessica Lyman in their home last month. But new search warrants obtained by KSL so they've been most recently looking at a neighbor's doorbell camera footage, which the warrant says caught a figure walking in front of the home in the middle of the night about 8 hours before police found the two. Though investigators say the shot was too far away to clearly see who this was, they are still trying to obtain footage from Lyman's doorbell camera. The warrants are also saying the painter was likely dead for several hours before police arrived. As of last update, police are now calling this a double homicide. Live Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Lori Vallow Daybell now awaits sentencing in Arizona after being found guilty last night of conspiring to kill her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. And this morning, we're hearing from jurors in the trial, including Victoria Lewis, who talked to KSL TV outside the courthouse.
Sad. Like I kept wanting to hear from Tylee.
Jury member Carl says he hadn't been sure of his decision until reviewing the text messages between Lori and Chad Daybell talking about getting rid of Charles.
there was a lot of little things that you know, but I think that
a release from the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation says while no verdict can bring back those who step in honoring the memory of Charles, JJ, Tyler, and Tammy.
KSL's top national story is now the body of Pope Francis is now lying in state inside St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican, where the public can now pay their respects on his casket for 3 days. Then, a funeral will be held Saturday morning. ABC's Patrick Greenwald is at the Vatican this morning.
World leaders already announcing they plan to attend Saturday's funeral, including President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. Among them also Britain's Prince William, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, as well as many European leaders. The world's attention
in the Sistine Chapel may not begin for a few weeks.
ABC's Lionel Louise continued team coverage, saying after the Cardinal
Kevin Farrell, Vatican's interim manager until April is elected. He has deep ties to the U.S., serving in D.C. and Dallas before Rome. Some speculate he could be a contender for Pope. Never named voting, Joseph Temple, Archbishop insiders say it's unlikely an American will be elected.
The conclave could begin as early as the second week of May.
Parents in Maryland want their children to have the option to opt out of elementary school classes using storybooks with LGBTQ characters, and they've presented their case to the U.S. Supreme Court.
It does seem at the end of the day these parents from Montgomery County will get what they're asking for, and that is a right to pull their kids from class because of their faith, and could have far-reaching ramifications nationwide.
ABC reporter Devin Dwyer says the Maryland School District introduced the books 3 years ago as part of an effort to showcase the district's diversity.
The director of a charter school in northern Utah has been arrested on suspicion of sexually exploiting children and being involved in the production of child sex abuse material. Jared Buckley is the superintendent at Leadership Learning Academy, campuses in Ogden and Layton. He's facing multiple charges being held in the Davis County Jail.
A man is dead after a crash in Garfield County last night. Utah Highway Patrol says the car ran off the road before overcorrecting and then rolled several times. The 46-year-old driver was the only one affected.
UDOT is considering building a new interchange between I-84 and Trappers Loop Road in Morgan County.
The state is considering spending $1.25 million on the project. If it goes through, crews probably wouldn't break ground until 2030. State Representative Tierra Oxer says that would be too late.
I know that this interchange has been about 10 years in the making. Almost everyone in the community has felt the pressure that the extra growth we've experienced for the last few years has gotten our road infrastructure.
She says there are times in the winter when some residents in Mountain Green won't even leave their homes because of how difficult it is to get out of the neighborhood. UDOT will hold a public hearing about the interchange this evening at Mountain Green Middle School. Don Brinkerhoff, ASL News Radio.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report, and here is Heather Kelly.
Well, we've got a crash northbound I-15 right over 53rd South in Murray. It's blocking 2 left lanes. Traffic is backed up all the way to Midvale, starting to back up towards Sandy. So that's going to take you an extra 5 or 10 minutes to get through there. And then you've got typical delays pretty much everywhere else. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Uvalde, Texas city officials have now approved payments to the families who lost children in the school shooting back in 2022.
Nearly 3 years after a gunman killed 19 students and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School.
All those in favor of
Uvalde City Council has approved confidential payments to families of some of the victims. Beyond that, Mayor Victor Luevano promises
a permanent memorial plaza and promote the shared healing of the Robb families and the broader community.
May 24th is to be declared an official day of remembrance in Uvalde. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Home prices are still creeping up, even though homes are taking longer to sell. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis joins us live. Brianna.
Amanda, a new analysis from Redfin shows for the last 11 months, home prices have been increasing, but at a lower level for each month. Redfin says the changes are showing that demand is not keeping up with the supply of homes for sale. Senior economist for Redfin says homes are taking longer to sell and prices in some areas are falling, some from a broad economic slowdown. This might be a win for some buyers as there will be more room for negotiations. Live, Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
A group of people living near the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon want to band together to become the state's next city. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports, if approved, Granite City could incorporate by 2029.
There are fewer than 1,100 residents in the non-contiguous areas of Salt Lake County, but Bob Cox, chair of the Granite Community Council, says more than half of it will allow those islands to join together to incorporate. The signatures were submitted last week, and now it's up to the lieutenant governor to decide if all of the requirements for the historically pioneer and mining areas can be preserved as a city. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
Investors seem to like the news from Washington that President Trump believes a trade deal will be reached with China. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has more.
Encouraging signs for both. President Trump said his tariffs on Chinese imports will be coming down substantially. The Dow surging more than 1,000 points yesterday. Also in reaction to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying he expects a de-escalation of the trade war with China, saying neither side thinks the status quo is sustainable.
We'll keep you updated on the markets throughout the morning.
This morning, about 50 veterans from the state are enjoying full day in Washington, D.C. as part of the Honor Flight program. Navy veteran David Hood is part of the group.
This has been a wonderful reminder of the appreciation not only I have, but the American people have for the service that we rendered at that time.
Today, the group is heading to the National Mall to see the
stands to the side and claps as you walk through. It's
Good feeling as you do that.
7:09 now. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's lifestyle checking account with built-in benefits. And we go back over to you, Heather.
We've got at least 3 vehicles involved in a crash northbound I-15 at 53rd South in Murray, blocking the HOV lane and the left shoulder, and traffic is pretty much at a crawl, backed up to 7200 South in Midvale, but it's going to continue to back up into Sandy as we're just starting to go into the peak of our rush hour traffic. You also have delays trying to get out of Utah County, mostly right now on 2100 North as you make that curve that's Mountain View Corridor turns into 2100 North over to I-15. We've had significant delays all morning on Mountain View Corridor through West Valley City, as well as coming out of Tooele County on the 201 freeway through Magna. Andy?
Traffic's getting a bit more busy in Roy, slowing on 5600 South for several blocks before you get to I-15. We've got some southbound slowing on the exit ramp, but then the main flow bunches up a little bit between the Roy exit going down into Sunset towards 650 North Clearfield. Don't see any delays on I-15 going south from Layton through Salt Lake City. Drive through Parley's Canyon on I-80 still clear all the way to Park City and the Highway 40 junction without any slowing. This spring, experience the magic of nature and light at Zooluminate, where the wild things glow. Hogle Zoo's new after-hours event. Get your Zooluminate tickets at hogozoo.com.
KSL hourly forecast. Starting the morning out at 7 a.m. with temperatures mild in the low 50s and mostly cloudy skies. We'll keep it mostly cloudy through the lunch hour, 65 the temperature. A light wind out of the southeast, anywhere from about 3 to 6 miles an hour. Into the afternoon, breezy at times, temperatures in the low 70s, though mostly cloudy, 30% chance to see an isolated shower. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 52. That will have away from Doge and focusing more on testing on KSL News Radio.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has officially announced his plan to remove certain food dyes from the nation's food chain.
Kennedy and FDA Commissioner Mark and Gary come out and say that they have been coordinating with food companies, and they believe by the end of 2026, basically all artificial dyes will be out of our foods. And they're not doing this with regulation at this point. Again, this is a pressure campaign. It's using the bullet method. They've been meeting with these companies, letting them know one way or the other, this is the tool.
ABC reporter Cheyenne Haslett in Washington.
U.S. soccer officials have rescinded a red card given to Real Salt Lake's Diego Luna during their last game against Toronto. Luna got tangled up with another player, was sent off the field for the rest of the game in a match RSL ended up losing. The team appealed that decision and won, meaning Luna's one-game suspension and fine have been removed.
One of the University of Utah's top wide receivers has entered the transfer portal just days after the team's spring game. Zacharias Williams decided to enter the portal along with a handful of other Utes players. Williams has been receiving a lot of praise from head coach Kyle Whittingham. KSL Sports reports Utah will now likely need to land 2 new wide receivers through the transfer portal.
The Salt Lake Marathon is scheduled for this weekend, and police are reminding everyone about the road closures. More than 200 intersections will be temporarily closed throughout the day on Saturday. Many of them will be around Federal Heights, the University of Utah campus, Sugar House, Holiday, and downtown in general. They should all be back open by 5 p.m.
Today marks 20 years since the first video was uploaded to YouTube. The 19-second clip depicts YouTube co-founder Jawad Karim talking about elephants in the San Diego Zoo. Here's a clip from that very first video.
Alright, so here we are on the elephants. Coping with what these guys have been. So they have this really long trunk. And
that's pretty much how YouTube videos are for the most part. Well, Google now owns YouTube, and its revenue last year was estimated to be over $54 billion, making it the second largest media company in the world behind Disney. Really quick though, just I had to watch a couple of documentaries recently just about influencers. There's no way Jawad Karim would have seen what would become of this creation. Right. It's wild. It's just been wild over 20 years.
I don't think any person has created a viral video has any sense when they created it. It's going to go viral. That's the random nature.
But you hope that it does now. We can create videos hoping that they'll go viral, whereas back then it was just, let's see what happens.
Trending this hour on the 7 o'clock report, an iconic store is getting a movie made after it. Variety reports that Toys R Us is getting a full live-action movie. It's reportedly in early development, but it hopes to capture the childhood wonder the store holds. The project is being described as something kind of like Night at the Museum, Back to the Future, and Jumanji.
And probably Toy Story, right? A set of the first 4 editions of William Shakespeare's collected works is expected to sell for up to $6 million at auction next month. The May 23rd sale will be the first time since 1989 that a set of the first, second, third, and fourth folios has been offered at auction as a single lot. The first folio was published in 1623, 7 years after Shakespeare's death. It contains 36 plays, of which half were published there for the first time. Scholars say that without the book, plays including Macbeth, The Tempest, and Twelfth Night might have been lost.
The new Golden Bachelor has been announced. Mel Owens is a 66-year-old retired former NFL veteran turned lawyer. He says he's excited to find love.
Sure, he'll find it there. ASL News Time is 7:14. 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
new search warrants are providing new details into what police are now calling the double homicide of a mother and son in Saratoga Springs. And KSL News Radio's Adam Smith.
Second, Pope Francis's body is now lying in state. More in a moment with ABC News.
Third, traffic and weather together.
Stop and go right now, northbound I-15 from 9th South in Sandy up to 53rd South in Murray, where we have a multi-vehicle crash blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder. Allow extra time on your commute into downtown Salt Lake. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Here comes the clouds today, but the temperatures remain mild. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 53 degrees in the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The public goodbye to Pope Francis has begun in Rome. Throngs of mourners filing past his casket. Here's ABC's Terry Moran at the Vatican.
A solemn sick is brought to St. Peter's Basilica to lie in state. The Pope's simple wooden coffin, carried by white-gloved pallbearers, escorted by the papal Swiss Guard in their resplendent uniforms. Cardinals joining the procession as it made its way from the chapel of the Santa Marta Guest House just after 9 a.m. in Vatican City.
The Pope's funeral to be held on Saturday, the conclave to decide on the next Pope to begin after that. The markets are pointing toward another higher open after President Trump said he would not fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell, and after Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told investors that the tariff tiff with China is not sustainable. In Weirtown, New Jersey, Kelly Mendoza got a start in the middle of the night.
The police keep knocking on all our doors and told us that we had to evacuate.
The reason a wildfire burning in Ocean County, it's only about 10% contained so far. Harvey Weinstein's New York rape trial is set for opening statements today. His retrial, that is. This is ABC News.
Let's go with death now. Elon Musk says he's going to scale back his work in Washington, D.C. with the Trump administration.
ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott.
Overnight billionaire Elon Musk telling Tesla shareholders that his work with the Department of Government Efficiency is winding down.
I think starting probably in next month, May, my time allocation to Doge will drop significantly.
The world's richest man insisting he will stay with the Trump administration, at least part-time, but will focus on his business.
Starting next month, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla.
His remarks coming after his company Tesla announced a 9% drop in revenue from January to March and a staggering 71% drop in profits in the first quarter. The electric car giant blaming the growing trade war and, quote, changing political sentiment, which could have a meaningful impact on demand for our products in the near term.
As people know, there's been some blowback for the time that I've been spending in government with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE.
The company's CEO has become a divisive figure since heading up the president's effort to shrink the size of the federal government. His high profile making Tesla a target. The Department of Justice already charging multiple people in several states for attacking dealerships and lighting multiple Tesla vehicles on fire.
Musk says he will continue to push the administration to move toward lower tariffs. Yeah, if your company's stock drops 70%,
Probably needs your attention.
It probably needs your attention, that's for sure. And that's the in-depth at 15 and 45. Right now it's coming up on 7:19. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. And we go back over to you.
Well, traffic's moving freely on northbound I-15 in Utah County from Spanish Fork over the point of the mountain all the way into Sandy. But just after you pass 90th South, you're going to hit a wall of solid traffic. It's crawling along all the way up to 53rd South in Murray, where we have a crash blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder. So just allow extra time on your drive, or you may want to consider transitioning on to the west side belt or exiting at 7200 South. You have your congestion spots on Bangerter Highway in the road construction zone, as well as Mountain View Corridor in West Valley. Things are easing up a little bit on SR 36 in the Lake Point area, but you still have quite a bit of slowdowns trying to get onto eastbound I-80. Andy?
Southbound 15 has been in good shape on the main flow between Ogden and Salt Lake. What was slowing just a tiny bit in Roy has cleared out. Now you will wait if you're exiting the freeway in Roy, and there's slowdowns along 5600 South for several blocks trying to get over to the North Gate to Hill Air Force Base. Westgate not so bad, and not really any extra backups on the exit ramp beyond normal. Traffic at the South Gate was getting pretty slow on Hillfield Road for a bit, and then maybe just a little bit of northbound delay still there now. Traffic on the drive into Parley's Canyon on I-80 still clear, although it gets a little bit heavy near Park City. I haven't seen any extra slowdowns right now for traffic on Foothill Drive, other than having to wait through the intersection at 1700 South. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialists. Whipple that away.
KSL 7-day forecast. Goodbye sunshine, hello clouds. I got mostly cloudy skies today with a 20 to 30% chance for an afternoon shower. Temperatures still in the low 70s. 69 tomorrow with a better chance for scattered showers, maybe even a stray thunderstorm. 75, partly cloudy and breezy on Friday. We keep those southerly winds going on Saturday, partly cloudy 74. 61 and mostly cloudy by Sunday, so cooler, and a 30% chance for a shower. Best chance for rain over the next 7 days falls on Monday. I got rain showers at 59 for a daytime high. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And this morning we have clouds at 53 degrees downtown. And the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive. Bountiful. Is there anything you do, Andy, in your morning routine that helps you have a good day?
No, but I've actually tried to reduce my routine to be as automatic as possible because I get up so early.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever feel like I forgot something, so I've made my routine so that I could do it almost literally in my sleep.
Yeah.
But I do try to make it so that my day doesn't go bad. Usually it's if I forget to bring something to eat.
Oh, for sure. You gotta have food.
But everything else is so automated, like
yeah,
the order I wash my hair and all that stuff.
You know, sometimes I think it's easier to get up at the time, like my alarm goes off at 2:30. Sometimes I think it's easier to get up at 2:30 than it is to get up at 6:30 because I cannot let myself hit the snooze at 2:30. That would be cruel.
True. That's true. My kids sleep through their alarms, and my body cannot do that.
But like if it's a day when I'm getting up at like a more regular time, I might give myself it, and then you wind up. Once you start hitting the snooze, you know, you start thinking, well, maybe I could, and you start to make excuses in your head. But at 2:30, you just boom.
You got to get up.
Boom. And
I find myself wasting more time. Like maybe you lay in bed for a while, and then all of a sudden it's an hour instead of 10 and 15 minutes. Yeah.
So we're blessed, I think, in a way. But I'm trying to put a silver lining on it.
Amanda, you do a great job of finding a positive look at things.
We have been really up on the futures markets this morning. Let's see if we're still there. We'll check money news just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Hi. Sorry, did I startle you? When you're used to hearing a certain type of commercial, something like this can, well, take you by surprise.
Alrighty then. This is where I stop it.